Welcome back to the Relius Reviews. Today's review is focused on Animal Kingdom, Season 5, Episode 8, entitled Gladiators. And the official synopsis of Gladiators is: Pope helps a new friend, Duran, Jay, and Craig deal with the fallout from past mistakes as they make new enemies and new friends. And I thought that this episode was a really good episode. Pretty good. And before I give out my review, please like and subscribe and comment and tell me what I should review next. So the episode begins with just a flashback scene of Smurf and the entire gang doing another job at a jewelry store. And this time Smurf is disguised as a rich person and Manny and Jake are disguised as bug workers. They bug up the store and basically steal all the jewelry. And this felt like that one mission from Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the earlier missions, where Michael and Franklin basically did the same thing. They were like bug exterminators and they robbed the entire place and everything else. And also Pam is on the job as well. So then we see Pope, who for some reason decides to go back to Cassandra's ex's place, Liam's, and basically kidnaps Liam and takes Henry to go see his mother. And then we see Jay. He is trying to find Duran so that he can basically get an explanation about the DEA agent and just everything else that has been going on with him as well. Jay eventually finds Craig, who's been bailed out of jail by Ren. The two argue, and Jay basically tells Craig about the entire situation with the DEA, Adrian, Pete fleshing away all of those drugs, and those two have like a huge argument as well because to Craig, basically, they're broke, they don't got no money, and we see Duran, he is surfing, just minding his own measly business. Pope, on the other hand, he still has Liam hostage, Henry as well. And then long story short, Pope basically leaves Liam for dead and just continues to take Henry to go see his mom. And then we see Craig and Duran, they are talking about everything from the job, DEA, all kinds of just things. A huge argument ensues, and then we see Craig, who is basically off one in this episode, high off of drugs and alcohol, and he decides to freaking rob a bunch of different places, and long story short, to get money. And then we see Jay meeting up with Lark, talking about more documents that he and the entire family has to sign. And Jay realizes that that's probably not going to be easy as well. So then another flashback ensues. Smurf and the entire gang all get out of their clothes that they robbed the jewelry store with and destroy the van. And they have a huge surprise waiting for them as Jake's wife is at Smurf's place, aggravated, upset, and angry because she now realizes what Jake has been doing. And it seems as if that Smurf and Jake's wife are about to scrap it out, but it doesn't get there. Smurf decides to cook for the entire gang. Manny has to leave to make a phone call and everything else. And so we see Smurf and Pamela just continuing to talk. Craig, on the other hand, is continuing to rob more places. Cops are now starting to possibly look for him and everything. Pope arrives at Cassandra's place with Henry, and he, for some reason, decides to help out Cassandra and Henry by giving them money and just telling them what they need to do, because I think he realizes that people are now going to try to come after Cassandra and Henry and everything else. And so the two talk. Cassandra is very grateful. Meanwhile, we see Duran trying to talk to Pete and everything about the job, the drugs, the money. And long story short, Pete is now an enemy of the Smurfs, as he basically threatens the entire family, saying that if they ever come back to his location, some t-shirts are about to be made. And I don't know what to say about that. It's just really crazy, to say the least, and surprising. So another flashback ensues, which is Smurf and Pamela just talking about family life, about jobs and everything, what happens if they get in trouble and everything else. And then Jay, he arrives back at the family house where Craig and Duran are waiting. Long story short, a crazy argument ensues and basically all hell breaks loose with the three fighting and everything. Duran getting a couple of punches in, Jay getting a couple punches in, Craig trying to t-shirt Jay. After that, the family, they all go to separate ways in the house. Jay decides to possibly leave the house to start his own things. Craig and Duran there trying to like heal themselves after that fight that they had. Pope finally arrives back home and is just confused as if like what happened. He talks to everyone. He tells Jay that he shouldn't leave. And we see another flashback scene, and the episode basically ends with just Smurf and the entire family just talking. That's all. I thought that this episode was a pretty cool episode. It had a lot of tense moments, new enemies being made, new friends possibly being made as well. I would say some of the things that I enjoyed about this episode was first and foremost the fight. I feel like that fight was long overdue with Jay and the Smurfs, as from the beginning, Craig, Duran, Pope, they never liked Jay. And those three have done some pretty horrible things to Jay, but at the same time, Jay has done some pretty grimy things as well to them. And all three of them fighting was not surprising. Another thing that I enjoyed about this episode would probably have to be just Smurf and the entire gang doing that bank robbery job. To me, it was like that GTA mission where Michael and Franklin did the exact same thing, like dressed as bug exterminators and just basically robbing the place and all that type of stuff. Like, it was pretty cool to say the least. And some of my predictions that I have for this season is that I have a feeling that Pete may or may not get killed off, because his threat sounded very serious, with him saying that if any of them come back to his location, he's going to put them all on some shirts. So only time will tell with what happens at that. Pamela and Smurf actually doing some jobs together was really surprising. I did not expect Pam to actually be doing some jobs with some Smurf. I thought that Pamela was still trying to like get her life together and everything else. I wonder, is she going to go back to jail? Because I think she did say that if she did go back to jail, that it was going to be some trouble. So yeah, Lark is going to be in more episodes this season, and I have a feeling that her appearance is going to be more significant than Pamela's for some reason. And I have a feeling that Lark and Jay are going to do something to those documents. I don't know what, but something crazy is probably going to happen with that. And for some reason, I think that Manny in present time is dead, because we've seen for the last few episodes, Manny has had trouble with gambling, debts and everything, paying back debts. I, for some reason, have a feeling that Manny is probably going to get killed off this season. And that is the reason why we don't see him at all in present time for some reason. I don't know. But out of all, it was a cool episode, better than last week, and I can't wait for what's going to happen next. And until next time, goodbye.